It is, well, it's kind of breezy out, isn't it? I am at Rock City Records. This is in Livonia, Michigan. It is a guitar store, but it also now has a nice selection of records. And I've been trying to find this place, but I just couldn't remember what the name was, but I have found it. Rock City Records. So let's go in and let's see what they got going on here, because it's hotter than heck out here. All right, Rock City Records. This is in Livonia, Michigan. It is primarily, it started as a guitar store, and there is no song that says you can't play Stairway to Heaven here, but it has morphed also into a record store. Ooh, sound of music. Oh man, poor Jermaine. Look at some stuff out here so we can check this. God, that's a good album, man. I hear Third Main Army being played in the background. Is that the nowadays version of Stairway to Heaven? Yeah? It really. Yeah. Neat store. This is nice over here too. Right, your t-shirts and pinball. Not just pinball, rock and roll pinball. Rock City. So we began this video at Rock City Records. There's their sticker. Here's their information. You need that. So Rock City Records, the person that takes charge of the records is named Scotty. Scotty used to work at another record store called UHF, but he came over to Rock City when they wanted to really get into record albums. This place is a guitar. And I mean, the whole time I was there was a lot of people coming in for guitar lessons, and someone in the background doing the old third man arm dun 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 dun, from Jack White, which is this generation's Stairway to Heaven. So it's a really neat place. There was a lot of very good vinyl that I really liked. I found some pretty cool stuff. Prices were good. They were, right there in the mid-level. They weren't trying to go, well, Discogs says this, we're going to go way up to here. I thought they were fair and they were decent and a nice variety in a variety of genres. As usual, I don't have time to really go through the racks because I'm kind of, using a lunchtime or it's the end of the day. But I really enjoyed this. I've been trying to find it. So it's Rock City Records in Livonia, Michigan. It's not really that far from the newest Dearborn Music that came out. And for those of you in the Detroit area, you know where I'm talking about. So let's get on the second part and show some of the albums that I've brought back into my collection that I used to have and now I have again. This one actually I had brought back already. It's the very first Fleetwood Mac. This is the U.S. edition, and it is a first press on that. Now, the U.K. edition off Epic didn't have the pink border, but in the U.S. they put that pink border. For me, this is just such a wonderful Fleetwood Mac. Unless you are the 70s Fleetwood Mac, mid-70s on up is your deal. You won't like this, but for those that like the blues, this is their tribute. Really down dirty blues. Peter Green doing really what he loved to do and play really good blues. And it says can be played on today's mono record players with excellent results. So that's great to know that you would have excellent results if you did that. Nice to pick this up. I picked it up in my local store at Radio Wasteland. He just had brought that in, and I go, God, okay. Did I need it because I had a newer repress, but it was a first press here in the U.S. Another one. This was a big one for me. Maybe not for everyone, but for me. Parliament Funkadelic versus the Placebo Syndrome. This is my favorite Parliament album of all time. It does have the hit Flashlight, but that's not the reason why. This is a concept album, and regretfully, the cartoons aren't in here, which is too bad, and that's something I'll have to be on the lookout for, because they had really cool, funny cartoons on here. So what you have here is this is the story of Star Child versus Sir Nose Devoid of Funk. And Sir Nose Devoid of Funk, he don't want to dance. I don't ever dance. I don't dance, he'll say, and he has a big nose and things. But Star Child has the bop gun. And if you get hit by the bop gun, suddenly you want to dance, you want to groove. And so that's what this is about. You have bop gun, endangered species, Funkadelic, Placebo Syndrome, Sir Noise Devoid of Funk, Wizard of Finance, which is, that's not the biggest one. So you can see here Star Child getting down, hitting Sir Noise Devoid of Funk. And what happens? He gets hit and he starts to strip. So to get down and be funky, you have to wear less clothes. That's the moral of the story. So if you happen to be outside and you don't have any clothes on and the cops come up and they start to question you, just say, I'm being funky, man. I got hit by the bop gun. And I'm pretty sure you won't get arrested. And they're going to accept that. And if they don't have any questions, refer them to this album. Trust me on that. I think you're good to go. But By God, I love that Parliament album. It is so funky. It is so much fun. They were at their peak. After this album, they began to go downhill. So great stuff. Another one I've been looking for. This is hard to find. It used to be really easy, but Gary Numan, The Pleasure Principle of all things. It isn't like it costs you an arm and a leg, but people really snap that up really quick. And it's hard to get. This, it was one of those albums my little brother bought. And I go, why'd you buy that? Oh, okay. And at first, I wasn't into it, but it grew and grew on me. Obviously, the hit Cars is on here, which is so much fun, so much good. But Airplane, Meadow, Complex, Films, his titles all have one word. So, I mean, it appealed to my brain easily because I didn't have to think a lot. But they are fun. He comes in heavy with the synthesizer, really showing what can be done with electronics and going into, I think this was made in, was it 80? No, 1979. This set the stage for what was happening in music going forward with heavy electronics and synthesizers. And it just such a wonderful album. I can sit and listen to it. I never get bored by it. And it's just kind of stark at times. It's cold because of all the electronics, the drum machines, but very happy to have that. Then, my very first Earth, Wind & Fire album I ever bought, I finally got back in my collection. And it's probably my favorite. Earth, Wind & Fire, All in All. This came out in 1977. Now, they were already big. I knew of Earth, Wind & Fire. You know, they were on the charts. They were doing really well. You know, there were a couple previous albums, you know, just were incredibly good. You know, they were bringing out the dance, bringing out the funk, and just doing a heck of a job. That's the sleeve on there. Nothing, just if you like words, that's a wonderful sleeve. Let me tell you, I took that and I memorized them off Columbia House. And this album, I played so much. Oh my goodness. You know, I was a senior in high school when this came out, and I just could never get enough of it. You had on here, I'm trying to find the track listing, which obviously we don't like to put on. Serpentine Fire, Fantasy. I mean, here, this just starts. It starts with Serpentine Fire, it goes into Fantasy. In the Marketplace is kind of a transitional, then goes into Jupiter, and then Brazilian Rhymes on that side. In side 2, you have, run-ins on here, Brazilian Rhyme again, Be Ever Wonderful. That one's not that great. I'll Write a Song for You. Side 2 is a little not as funky as side 1. You know, neat artwork. It just, Earth, Wind & Fire was changing. Their outfits were getting crazier and crazier by the time this came. And you blame Funkadelic for that. I truly blame a lot of these outlandish outfits. That came from Parliament Funkadelic, because they were dressing up and the crowds were going nuts, and suddenly everyone else was, let's look wild. But probably my favorite Earth, Wind & Fire, because it's just so dang catchy. Next one, you could say kind of a trash thing. Did I really need to have it? I might not have, but let me tell you, this one's filled with memories. This, you know, came out, what year was this? I believe 1983. So we're about 24 years old now. And it was all over the place. True was a beautiful song. It still is an incredibly beautiful song. This is coming from Mr. No Ballads, okay? And I just, you know, how could you go wrong? Look at them outfits. Now, that's exciting stuff, because let me tell you, these, you know, double-breasted suits, yeah, man, I had one. I had pointed gray shoes. They were vinyl. You know, the soles were like this thin. Now, I'm an assistant manager. I'm on the floor all the time. I absolutely destroyed my feet, but it didn't matter. The pain didn't matter because you looked cool. And, you know, here, you know, we're at Kmart, but I'm down kind of in the ghetto area, and I'm coming in double-breasted suit, pinstripe. Yeah. Our door greeter, though, we had a door greeter. He dressed in super expensive suits. He was just the best dressed man you've ever seen. He's our door greeter. You think something else might have been happening? You think maybe this post was just, I'm here later. But he was a nice guy. So, and dressed well. But let's talk about the new romanticism. This was everywhere with it. Gold's on here, Code of Love. It's a beautiful album. Is it, True? I do love True. I think it's a great song. But it's an album that makes me smile when I play it. And not just the one song, but the whole song, and brings out tons of really good memories. And that's what a record collection should be about. Yeah, it's fun to get the highly collectible stuff. That's very exciting. But you should smile when you put it on. You go, God, it's great. And at my age, I need everything I can for my memory. So then, this was reissued. And you still might be able to get it on Amazon. This is only $11. Reissued, $11. And I'd lost this during the flood. Jenny Lewis and its Voyager. So I saw that, and well, heck, for $11. It's textured cover, very nice. And there is a photo in here, words on the back. I loved this when it came out. I bought it and I re-listened to it. It wasn't as good as it was when I originally heard it. I wasn't as enamored by it. So it's lost a little bit of its zip to me. I like Jenny Lewis a lot. I love her voice. But it's still, again, it's not terrible. And it's a good album. I'm happy to have it. I'm really happy to have it at $11. That makes me really, really happy. Records fell over. So, yeah, Jenny Lewis Voyager. Check Amazon. You might be able to get it super cheap on there still. That was great. And then I want to bring it back in. I never had a lot of Who. I did. Well, you know what? As my collection had been growing, I was getting a lot of Who. This is one I liked. And I've always just wanted to do the dots, and someday I should. But good Who album. Is it their best? No, it's not my favorite. I like, obviously, Who's Next. I like Who Are You a lot, but that was my very first Who album I ever bought, so it makes a difference. But you did have Slip Kid and Squeeze Box on here, which, really were great songs. When this came out, was it 75, I said? And I believe, 75. I remember hearing Squeeze Box. And that was hitting AM radio. And at first I thought, well, that's kind of a stupid song, very kind of country-ish. And I, living in rural Nebraska, I'd wanted nothing to do with country music whatsoever. A bunch of the yeehaws were into that. And it just wasn't my deal. I wasn't very much of a, I grew up in small towns, but I didn't want to be part of a country scene. And so... But this album's grown on me. There it was. Great price. Hey, let's take it. Then, soft porn. We have Blind Faith here. And there's the guy in charge of doing the blocking, I guess, for Facebook or whatever. Great. This album's gotten better with age. When I first got it, I thought, oh, it's okay. It wasn't like blowing me away. But with time, it has gotten much better. And with time, I truly enjoyed it. And when I played this, because I haven't heard it in a few years now because of, I haven't got it replaced, I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. It really rocked. There wasn't any song that just screamed at me that I would go back and put repeat. But the whole album itself was very good. well put together. I know most of you know that. But my musical taste really started, mid-70s forward. That's where, that's my wheelhouse. You get into the 80s, we're just talking, there I am. And so going back and grabbing these and re-listening to them, especially now at an advanced stage, it's been interesting to hear what they sound like. Final one, and this, we saved the best for last, because I think that's what you need to do. Pablo Cruise. Oh yeah, this was college, man. Oh, worlds of ways on here. What is it, 1978? My God, this was everywhere. I go to Rio de Janeiro. Woo! Ah, man, worlds away. Love will find a way every day. The whole freaking thing was a hit. Man, Pablo Cruise tore it up. You'd go to a dance, play some Pablo Cruise. Yeah, and look at that. Talk about an afro. Look how happy they are because they're making disco. Yeah, it's basically disco. We got the, the flowered shirts, the open collar, the big wide yellow lapels. Great stuff. Pablo Cruise. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Happy memories. Okay, there we go. That's what I brought back. I got some more I brought back in my collection. That's all we're going to talk about. It's long enough. All right. Thank you. Hope to see you Sunday. Have a good week. Bye.